The NXL-Major League Paintball 2026 season is about to begin. We're going to talk about it on This Week in Old Guy Paintball. Hello everybody, my name is Craig and I am the host, and welcome to my channel. As I said, the Tampa Bay Open, being held on March 19th through 22nd, will be the season opener for the 2026 season of Major League Paintball and the NXL. We have a lot to talk about on that. It's going to be an exciting season, and this is going to be a great way to kick off. The season opener will be in Tampa Bay at the Raymond James Stadium complex, and yes, they are going to be games played, it sounds like, on the actual Raymond James Stadium field, and they're also going to be under the lights. So that's going to be exciting right from the beginning. It is trying to show that Major League Paintball is trying to step up its game a little bit and draw a little bit more attention. Not exactly sure how that's going to work out with the stadium because, as we all know, paintball can be kind of harsh on fields. So I'm not sure if they're planning on redoing the field this year or if it's just going to be like half a field. There are going to be two different settings on the field, which a full-length football field should be able to support two airfields. So it'll be interesting to see what the final decision is on that. But the games will start on Thursday with the 3-man event and then continue on to Friday and Saturday with the regular 5-man event and then conclude, of course, on Sunday. It sounds like in multiple days there will be games under the lights. And I think this is huge because one of the things it does is if we can start getting paintball in prime time, even under the lights, and it looks good, this could be huge for drawing in future outlets such as ESPN, maybe NBC Sports or some other, CBS Sports or some other outlet, maybe something along, with streaming services. That would be huge if we could continue to do that. The only drawback is the Go Sports and Major League Paintball channel has never done a night event. So I'm like you, probably interested to see how will their camera work be doing this. Every year they have tried to improve their video servicing, and it has gotten better, but this is going to be a huge leap to see how this is all done. So I look forward to seeing these games upcoming here in the next week and a half. The other thing I want to talk about is the brackets. We have several new teams this year. LA Collision, Wildside Distortion, which I believe is out of Chicago, and of course the Jungle Cats, which came out of Atlanta. Jungle Cats earned their spot from semi-pro, and the other two obviously bought positions from somebody or combined them with another team who was getting out. There's also rumors that Infamous is now going under the moniker of Detroit Infamous. I don't know about that. There are several teams in Los Angeles, so I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's what we've heard. The other thing that's going to be a huge point that we have to look forward to is the new 5 pod per person rule for each point. No longer was a player going to be able to go out there with 10, 11, 12, 13 pods on their back, strapped to the back, and just lane like crazy and just hose down bunkers and stop moving. This is going to provide a new form of action as far as I'm concerned. And one of the biggest things is with only 5 pods per point, it might actually make more moves possible. And, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with teams. As of right now, that's what they're saying they're going to do. This is actually the standard in NXL Europe. I hope it continues the whole season to give it a go. It's not just a one and done. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see how do teams move, how do they adjust to this, because no longer can a guy just hose a lane down and not prevent a guy from moving. And, it might allow snake players to get farther up the field because they're not going to have somebody just holding the tape edge and trying to keep them pinned down. So this is going to be a very, very interesting thing to see how teams adjust, adapt, and play this out. So I haven't had a chance to see a lot of previews of teams practicing, and I'm going to try to look at some of those this weekend, but it seems like that might be something. I hope they're trying to do that to get used to it because it's going to have a huge impact on how the game goes. But let's get back to the brackets. Group A is Fit, Uprising, Ironman, Aftershock, and Collision. Group B is Russian Legion, Damage, Infamous, Aftermath, and Extreme. Group C is San Antonio, X Factor, Heat, Dynasty, Leverage, and Distortion. And Group D is Impact, Tauntaun, Hurricanes, the Sea Dogs, and the Jungle Cats. This is going to be some interesting things. I think Group D has got probably the easiest for everybody. Royal City Sea Dogs and the Jungle Cats are two newer teams. One's a rookie, one's a second-year team. It's going to be interesting to see how they're ready for this action. Good shot for the Hurricanes to make it on the wild card, I think, for Sunday. And Impact and Tauntaun should, for the most part, I don't think they should have too big of an issue getting through this. 3-1, 4-0. I think that's a good chance they're going to be in the Sunday group. Group C, it looks like it's really tough. X Factor, Heat, Dynasty. Man, that's going to be a three-way battle right there. Then you have Leverage and Distortion. Two newer teams. Good shot for, same thing with Group D. Good shot for three teams that come out of this. Very possible that you could get those three teams all make it. Obviously, they're not all going to go 3-1, but, it could very easily, it'd be interesting to see who ends up going like 2-2 in this one, because someone's going to take a couple hits from one of the other teams. So that's going to be I think that's a very, very tough bracket, especially, how it could play out. Group B with Russian Legion, or Red Legion actually, Damage, Infamous, Aftermath, and Extreme. I don't see much problem with Red Legion or Damage getting out of this. Infamous, again, they've been kind of this weird team the past couple of years in that you don't know which team's showing up. Sometimes they look pretty darn good, and sometimes they're just, they're struggling. So you never know, but I don't think that's a really bad bracket to be in. If somebody wants to try to go 3-1, I think it's very possible to get easily 2 wins to work your way up. And of course, Group A with Paintball Fit, Uprising, Ironman, Aftershock, and Collision. Aftershock's had their struggles. They're kind of like Infamous. You kind of don't know who's showing up. Ironman's another one. They're kind of tricky. Some weeks they looked really good, and sometimes they've looked just, So I think Paintball Fit's going to go through this 4-0. I don't think Uprising is going to be, they could probably get through 2-2, 3-1, possibly Ironman. So could be a 2-2 team. Some wild card possibilities coming out of that bracket. But overall, I think this is going to be really exciting with, 3 newer teams and, 2 teams that came from last year to see what's happened. Now, I know there's been a lot of moves. Some teams have picked up coaching. They picked up other players. So it's going to be interesting to see, have they gelled a little bit in their practice sessions? Are they ready to step up to the tournament field and show us what they've got? And I'm like you, this is going to be a great tournament because with all the, newer things, some new technologies, with this, how this is going to play out with, games under the lights and, will that affect the team, going in later because they're going to have a night game and such like that. So I think this is going to be just a really nice way to start the year off. The weather's starting to break by me. A lot of fields are starting to post their opening days. So, you're starting to get that paintball vibe back. And, I'm excited because, this is a sign of springtime and paintball is coming back to a lot of the areas and we're going to be getting out in our fields and playing. So, you can't help but be excited by the opening of the NXL season. I look forward to it. And it's going to be interesting to see what the layout actually is. But right now, generally speaking, in these early season starts, it tends to favor strong veteran teams like, Fit, teams like, X Factor, Heat, Impact, that are pretty stable. Damage is even pretty stable. Dynasty's actually, they're another one. They're a pretty stable team. And those teams tend to have a little bit of advantage, I think, because they've been together. They know how to start the season. But I've also seen where some of these young teams come in and, hey, man, they have one. It usually goes one or two ways. They're excited to play. They're trying to show what they've got. They get it there and they shock some people. They surprise us. But most of the times, it's kind of like, okay, they're learning what the pro game is, how fast it is. But this year's different. And they, teams have struggled in the past, may not have it. With this 5-pod per rule, we don't know what's going to happen. So, let's keep our fingers crossed. Hope it's a great tournament. And, put down your thoughts. Who do you think is going to walk away with this tournament? It's hard to call right now with all the unexpected results. But I look forward to watching it. I hope you do too. I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss up on all my content that's coming up. And I look forward to seeing all of you on the paintball field soon.